Hello programmers, I am Rushikesh. Welcome to my video. In this video, we are going to discuss the sparse table construction. How to construct the sparse table data structure. Let's begin. We are going to see the construction of the sparse table for computing the range minimum queries. But sparse table can also be used to construct the range maximum queries, and the process remains same. So we are just going to see the range minimum query, construction of the sparse table for range minimum query scenario. So let's consider an array of size 10. Its indices are shown above the values. Now sparse table is a matrix kind of data. You can visualize it as a matrix or two-dimensional array kind of data structure. Now, how many rows and how many columns does it contain? We are going to see that. Now, the number of rows is equal to the maximum power of the 2 such that the 2 to the power of p is less than or equal to the size of the array. Like in this case, the size of the array is 10 and the maximum power over 2, that is less than or equal to 10, is 3, because the next value 4, if we consider, then 2 to the power of 4 is equal to 16, which becomes greater than 10. Hence the maximum power is 3 and we start from 0. So 0 to 3, 4. So it contains 4 number of rows. Now let us see what each row contains. The first row in the sparse table data structure contains the minimum values of all possible ranges of length equal to 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 0, which is equal to 1. So the first row contains the minimum value of all ranges, all possible ranges in the array of length 1 only. So this is a very trivial case. So because length is 1, so first row will be simply equal to the original values of the arrays only. Similarly, the second row of the sparse table contains the minimum value of the ranges, minimum values of the all possible ranges whose length is equal to 2 to the power of 1, which is equal to 2. Similarly, the third row corresponds to the 2 to the power of 2 equal to 4. So it contains all possible ranges of length equal to 4. And finally, the last row contains the minimum value of all possible ranges of length equal to 8. Now, we will see in each row how many elements does it contain. In each row, how many columns does it contain. Now, sparse table is not like a regular matrix or a regular two-dimensional array. The number of elements in each row differs. As we can see, in first row that corresponds to power of 0, 2 to the power of 0, the number of elements is 10, and as the range size increases, the number of elements in that row decreases. So the second row corresponds to minimum values of range whose lengths are equal to 2. So the number of elements in second row are equal to 9. In case of third row it is 7, and finally last row it is equal to 3. Now there is a formula for determining the number of elements in a row, which is n minus 2 to the power of p plus 1. Now the first row is simply equal to the values of the arrays, but conceptually these values denote the minimum values from the array, minimum values of all possible ranges whose lengths are equal to 1. So that's why their value becomes same as the original values in the array. Now let's see how we can compute the value of the first element in second row, so which corresponds to the range in original array whose length is equal to 2 and its position is 0 to 1, inclusive position as highlighted in the figure. Now this range from 0 to 1 can be divided into two equal ranges, two ranges of equal length, and the ranges are 0 to 0 and 1 to 1. Now we have already computed the minimum of ranges for 0 to 0 and 1 to 1 in the first row of the sparse table as highlighted in the green color, and their minimum values are 2 and 5. So in order to compute the minimum value in the second row, instead of iterating through all the elements from the original array, we will be considering these two values from the first row in the sparse table and take the minimum of the two values only. We will always consider the two values. So minimum of 2 and 5 is 2, so it becomes 2. Similarly, let's see how we can compute the value of the second element in second row. Now this second element in the second row corresponds to the minimum value in the range in the original array from position 1 to position 2 inclusive as highlighted in the figure. Now again similarly, this range from 1 to 2 can be divided into two equal ranges of length equal to 1. First range is from 1 to 1, second range is from 2 to 2, and their values we have already computed and stored in the first row of our sparse table as highlighted in the figure. So the minimum value for range 1 to 1 is 5 and the minimum value for range 2 to 2 is -1. So the minimum value of the entire range from 1 to 2 becomes minimum of 5 and -1, which is equal to -1. Now similarly, finally let's see how we can compute the minimum value of the third element in second row. Now this corresponds to range as highlighted in the figure in the original array from position 2 to 3 inclusive. Now this can be divided into two equal parts, 2 to 2 range and 3 to 3 range. Now the minimum value of range 2 to 2 is already we have computed in first row of the array as -1 as highlighted, and the minimum value of range 3 to 3 we have already computed, which is 4 as highlighted in the figure in the first row of the sparse table. Now the minimum value of the third element in second row is the minimum of -1 and 4, so it becomes -1. So this process we are going to repeat and we are going to compute the values like this. Same process we are repeating every time and we are computing. Now this is the final element. So we know that minimum is 7 here. So after computing, now we have reached the end because we cannot go further. So the second row, which corresponds to power of 2 to the power of 1, contains only 9 elements. The 10th element is blank. Now let's see how we can compute the minimum of first element in the third row, which corresponds to 2 to the power of 2 equal to 4. That is, it corresponds to range of length equal to 4. As highlighted in the figure, it corresponds to range. This element corresponds to a range from 0 to 3 inclusive in the original array. Now this entire range can be divided into two equal ranges of length equal to 2. The first range is 0 to 1 and the second range is 2 to 3. Now the minimum value for first range 0 to 1 we have already computed in the second row of the array as highlighted, and its minimum value is 2, and the minimum value of the range from 2 to 3 we have already computed in the second row of the sparse table and its value is -1. So the value of first element in the third row corresponds to the minimum value among these two values. The two values as highlighted in the second row of the sparse table, 2 and -1. So the minimum value is -1. So we are not iterating over the entire values in the original array. We are not iterating from 0 to 3 in this case. We are considering only the two values from the sparse table in the second row, the previous row basically. Now we are computing the value for the element in third row. To compute that, we always consider the two values from the previous row, which is second row, and from those two, whichever is the minimum, that value we will put here. Now let's see the same process for computing the second element of the third row. Now this element corresponds to a range in the original array from position 1 to position 4, whose length is 4. and this range can be divided into two equal ranges. First range from 1 to 2, second range from 3 to 4, and the minimum value for range 1 to 2 we have already computed in the sparse table in second row, and its value is -1 as highlighted, and the minimum value for range 3 to 4 is already computed and is highlighted in the sparse table second row as 4. So the minimum value at second element of the third row becomes the minimum among the two values in the second row of the sparse table, -1 and 4. So the minimum is -1. So again, we are not iterating through all the elements of the original array from 1 to 4 to compute the minimum. We are just seeing the two values from the previous row, and then from those two values we are considering the minimum value and putting it here. Now the same process we are going to repeat for the remaining elements. Same process we are going to repeat. Now this is the last element and its value is 0. Now after this we cannot proceed. We have reached the end. Hence the next three elements, they don't exist. So the third row, which corresponds to 2 to the power of 2, 4 ranges of length equal to 4, contains only 7 elements. Now finally let's see how we can compute the value of the element, first element in the final row in this sparse table. Now this element corresponds to range of length equal to 8 in the original array as highlighted in green color, and the range is from 0 to 7 inclusive. Now this range can be divided into two equal parts of length 4. From 0 to 3 is one part and from 4 to 7 is another part. Now the minimum value of the range from 0 to 3 we have already computed in the sparse table in previous row, that is the third row, and its value is -1. And the minimum value for the range from 4 to 7 we have already computed in the sparse table as highlighted in green color, and its value is 0. So the minimum value at the first element in the final row is the minimum of -1 and 0. Again, notice that in order to compute the minimum of the final row element, we are not iterating through all the elements of that range. We are not iterating from 0 to 7 here. We are considering the minimum value in the previous row at appropriate positions as highlighted, -1 and 0. Minimum among these two is -1. Hence, the value becomes -1 for the first element in final row. In this way, we can compute the values of second element as well and third element as well. Now here we have reached the end. Now we cannot proceed. This is the last range possible in the third row. So remaining elements are blank. So third row contains only 3 elements in it. Notice that in each iteration we are considering the values from previous row in the sparse table, and always we are considering 2 values only, and hence the construction requires for each element the construction time is constant and the number of elements. So the total construction time is proportional to the total number of elements in the sparse table. I hope this explanation helps in understanding the construction of sparse table data structure. Thank you for watching this video.